Uh, Welcome to the interview.
My
Thank you for volunteering to help mock interview today. We got a new mock interviewer, which is really exciting because that means that I get to take vacation now. No, but for today, I'll still be shadowing for today, but I will be silent for most of the interview unless something I need to step in. And at the end, I will also still be providing feedback, so definitely look forward to that.
Okay.
Otherwise, feel free to take it away. Thank you so much.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
They can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get right into it. Today's question will be called max number of balloons. And right now, Harvey, I'm gonna give you some time to read the question.
Oh, I should also mention, am I able to use Java for this?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We can switch language. Okay. Um. Okay. Um. I'm still gonna paste the question. Um. You can read it, and in the meantime, I'll just change the. I just change it to Java.
Eh, Okay, so given a string text, you want to use the characters of the text to form as many instances of the word balloon as possible. You can use each character in text as most once, and then return the max number of instances that can be formed. Okay, so essentially we're just given a string and we want to see how many instances of the word balloon exist.
Yes, that's
And
right.
each character only counts one time.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Why don't we start by talking about a few examples?
Okay. So Right, so we want to see how many instances of the word balloon exist. Um, I'm just trying to think if there was this built-in function to find words. I'm just trying to think if that would work. Okay, but I guess I'll start by asking some questions like, is there a chance that, for example, our string might be empty, for example?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
text may be empty.
Okay, so I'm just gonna take note of that. The text may be empty. Um, this may be empty, and then I'm assuming there's a chance that there might be zero balloons.
Yes, yes. In that case, you just return
And
zero.
any matches, I'll just say. Um, this may be empty. There might not be any matches. Use at least each character in the text most ones. Okay. All right. So I'm assuming we're probably going to have to track frequency of the characters.
Yes, that's right.
I'm just trying to think about how I would do that because
All
usually I
right.
would use a hash map.
That's pretty good so far. By the way, I muted myself on Discord, but I should still be
So
audible on the
do
recording
you
and
have
stream.
like, for example, a an example string.
Which I think is the right way to do this.
Yeah, why not you think of an example instead of me giving you one?
Okay. So, I guess the characters that are not.
Anyways, welcome viewers. It actually feels
The
really
characters
weird
that
that I
are not
can,
equal to blue
I don't know, like
are they just
talk
random
while it's going on.
characters?
I won't like tackle these people
Can we
too
assume
much.
there are letters, or can they be characters?
But this
Yeah,
is the first
that's
time
a
I'm doing
great
this one.
question.
Let's see
Let's
how it goes.
assume that there are only lowercase alphabetical characters here. So it's A to Z.
Okay, so
Leetcode.
is that would it be something like
Eat code indeed. That's a funny comment. I'll pin it. Let's see. Wait, is my Twitch working? Okay, it is.
could this
That
be
could
like
be
a
an
valid
example text.
Okay. Okay, and it's lowercase alphabet. All right.
I guess it also opens up to like if anyone
so
has any
pretty much
general
you can-
questions. I actually have time to look at the chat today. Holy cow, that's crazy.
I'm just gonna think we can actually probably keep track of how many times each letter occurs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if there's the easier, less brute force way to do that than just. I'm trying to see if I can use the array using ASCII, if that's possible, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so you want to use an array to keep track of the character frequencies.
Yeah, like using ASCII.
Oh, I should.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
In this case, just for simplicity's sake, why don't we use a hash map?
Hash map.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
Hey,
you
TJ.
mentioned.
Welcome.
Okay, so I would do.
Welcome.
So the method I'm thinking is like I will create a hash map with the key being the character and the value being the integer, and then I think I'll just go straight over each character in the string.
Yeah.
And then count the characters and how many times they occur.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then I guess at the end we can take the characters of balloon and determine how many times we can assemble the word balloon. We just have to count for the L's and O's occurring twice.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Apart from the L's and O's, I don't think that's something that we need to particularly ruminate about. But everything that you said before that, up to like the point where we just need to, given that we have a character frequency of text, the next step is to just determine how many times we can form balloon from that character frequency map, right?
Yeah. No, because I was just thinking because we said each character in a text can only be used at most once, right?
Yeah.
So then balloon and O's would be. So we can only use, for example, if we have like 4 L's in our frequency list, we would have to half that number, correct? And then same with O.
That is one approach of doing it, but why don't we think of like an easier way that makes it such that we don't have to care about those kind of small details.
Another way I think we can approach it without having to care about details like that is actually, Okay, I think I'm just gonna. I think I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Is it okay if I start implementing the solution?
I would appreciate if you tell me a high level solution first.
Oh yeah, so pretty much like I mentioned before, hash map, uh, iterate over the string,
Mm-hmm.
uh, counting the frequency, and then we can retrieve, for example, our letters are balloon, so the BALON, and then we can calculate how many times we can build balloon using the
Yeah,
frequency of the characters.
that sounds exactly what I was expecting. So
Mhm.
can you elaborate a bit more that of like after we have the frequency map and we want to decide how many times we can build balloon, right?
Mhm.
So how will you go about that? I want to hear more about that.
How many times we can build the balloon?
Yes.
Okay, so we would have to, I guess, find the minimums of the frequencies.
Okay, that is a good approach. Like
So we would see, for example, like what is the minimum value of every character, and then we could use, for example, like the math min function to do that, and then return whatever that minimum number is. Since
okay, I,
yeah.
I, I do agree with like the concept of finding a limiting factor, like
Mhm,
the letter that would stop us from constructing another balloon, right?
mhm.
But math min wouldn't work in this case. So um could you like try to think of another way?
You said math min wouldn't work in this case?
No, it wouldn't. Because because let's say um if even if like we had like for example 1A
Mhm,
um and two L's um sorry, basically what I'm trying to say is that um the absolute minimum character doesn't it didn't mean that it would be the limiting factor in this case. So yeah, there's no reason why like math min will be helpful
mhm.
here.
Oh yeah, because I was thinking, because I'm thinking like we would just find the minimum of B, A, and N, and then since L and O would occur twice, you can actually divide those by two and then find the minimum of two and then compare it to the other's minimum.
Yeah, actually, I think that will work. That will work.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
we can go with that approach.
is it okay to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we can start.
Because I'm just gonna start by creating a map. One is gonna have a key is gonna be a character and our value is gonna be an integer. We'll call this text map just for simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, and then we're gonna count each character in our text. So RC in text. Array. Okay. So there's actually instead of counting every single character, I'm pretty sure we can just a function we can use. It's uh it's the only well only it returns true or it'll return if that character is actually a value in text. So for example, like the letters we're tracking are BALON. We'd say this BL index of C. So just pretty much say um, if the current C or character is BALON, then we'll just say if this is not equal to -1, so it means it's true. Then we'll put in the map because I don't think we really want to
Is this
count.
like supposed to be an if?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. It's supposed to be if. Yeah, so if the current character is BALON, and
Okay.
if that so this is not equal to -1, meaning it's true, then we'll put in the map because I don't think we really want to track the other characters. So map. Oh, sorry. Text. Map. What? And since we're going to be counting frequency, we probably want to use the get or default function for the value. So text map dot get or default, and it would get the value of c or 0 and then incremented by 1. And then okay, so I think this should be good for counting the frequency of the characters in text.
Yep.
Okay. And now we can get our counts and compare values. So okay. So we can actually do this. I'll do this like this. I'll do int. We could do them all separately. Just to like so it's easier to visualize. Get or default. Since yeah, and also we want to use get or default here just in case the value is 0. Or sorry, we don't have an occurrence of the character.
So you're going to create like a variable for each character here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and then for the example where there's B or there's ALON and there's no B, we'll use the get or default, and then which will either give us either give us a value for B or 0.
Okay.
And then we'll just repeat this for ALON. Okay, so now for L and O, I think we can actually divide this number by 2, since our string contains 2 L's and 2 O's. So we would have to divide this number by 2 and then use that as the minimum. So we can actually, for the actual minimums, we can I would compare the minimum between, for example, B and A, and then L and O.
Why don't you put everything into maybe an array and use min?
Okay, an array.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that. So we could. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Okay. So we can actually. Are you saying like put everything into an array and then iterate over it, finding whatever the lowest number is?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So let's start with an array. And then our we'll have in max number of balloons equals, we'll just initialize this integer drop max value, and then we'll iterate over our arrays. So like int a val in our minimum array and our values will equal math dot min between this and our val, and then we'll just return that. Is that
Okay.
okay?
I'm not that familiar with Java syntax, but
Okay.
is
I think,
this a valid way to write a for?
yeah, it is. This is like if you just
Okay.
have a single line
All right.
statement, but essentially,
Okay. Awesome.
yeah.
Okay. This looks like it will work to me.
Mhm.
Okay. Now I'm gonna give you some follow-ups. So my first follow-up is, instead of always having balloon,
Mhm.
let's say now we want to parameterize that. I'll add another parameter called word. And now what I want you to return is max number of words that we can form. So instead of max number of balloon, it now becomes max number of words. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How will you modify this algorithm?
Okay. So we're like in your case, we're completely removing the balloons, correct? Like the balloons aspect is totally gone. It's just words now.
Yeah. So we do the same thing that we were doing with balloon, just with word. And it can be any word in a lowercase alphabet.
Okay, so originally, we were counting what? I think just to be ALON. So instead of that, because that's specific only to balloons, we would probably want to not specifically count just those letters, but all characters in the text. Do we have max number of words? Is this like any word we can create, or is there a target word, or
Sorry, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean by
like
any word we can create a
because you
target
said
word?
the max number of words, correct? Like, do we have like, for example, target words, or is it, or are we
Yeah.
just trying to
So
find
word will be our target.
yeah? So like oh, sorry, I didn't even see that word. Okay, yeah, so this is our target word, correct?
Yeah.
And then text is the word, or the where we have to find our word in.
Yeah. Text remains exactly the same as part one.
Okay. Yeah, so we would have to. I think we can still use a hash map.
Yeah. That's right.
We can actually, we could take a similar approach where instead of having this hard coded, we can add I think we can add the functionality of finding the characters in Word. Do the same approach, or we can just track. Yeah, I'm just gonna think about this.
For sure. But you're on the right track.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, so I think I would remove this and just track the characters. And instead of having this hard coded here, yeah, so track characters using the hash map we were, and then instead of having this here, I would so I would have a different way of, I guess, counting the minimum. So instead of, I wonder if there's, yeah, okay, so track the characters here, and then we can iterate, I guess, for each character in the word, we can pull that character from our, for example, map, and then find whatever that frequency is. So if we pull it from the map, it'll give us the value, which would be the frequency. And then we can compare that to example, like this will be max number of words. So we can compare it to the minimum of that and then iterate over each character, if that makes sense. So,
I don't think I'm really able to follow.
yeah, sorry, this sounded a little confusing. Okay,
Maybe we could start by thinking about how do we need to change this 16 to 20.
um, okay, so I would start with, I would, like, would you like me to implement?
Yeah, we
Okay,
can straight away start changing it.
I'm gonna just remove this so it's kind of out the way.
Oh, maybe let's not remove that first. Let's
Oh,
just think
okay.
about 16 to 20.
Okay. 16 to 20. So since this is hard coded, um, this part specifically, I think I would just remove this.
Oh, there's no need to remove it
Oh, sorry, no need to
entirely.
remove. Oh, just you
Yeah,
want me just
we
like
just need to
explain,
modify it.
modify?
Yeah, we just need to
Oh,
modify this.
okay.
Because this already does something that we need, right? Which is building a frequency map of things in text.
Mm-hmm.
So just one little part that we need to change here.
The this portion.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember if Java's if I can add just word here, if that'll work or not.
Okay. Alternatively, we could also just remove it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, you're
just
right.
to keep it
Yeah, just to keep it simple.
simple.
Since we know that the alphabet is really small, so
Mhm.
text
Okay.
map will be very small. We
So
can do that.
character also yeah. CNR
Okay.
and this should be fine still, this portion. I don't need to change the names of this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so now we're not actually counting BALON, so I think I should be. I think there is an easier way to use this for word because this is hard set to balloon, so I think I can actually remove this. Is that fine?
Okay.
Okay. and this is also hard set. Okay, so now we're going to be, let's start with this. So max number of words. We're going to start with the max value. And okay, so I think mm, we could use a loop. I think we could loop through each character of word and use that to pull the values from hash map.
Yes, that is something that we could do.
Let me see. We're just gonna have to. So, like for example, how Balloon had. We know Balloon had like 2 repeats, like 2 duplicates. We're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna have to account for duplicates in, for example, words. So just
Yeah. Not only do we need to care that there are duplicates, but for example, I could have a word like, for example, I don't know. Let's give an example like bookkeeping. Like, I don't know. Like this has like a lot of duplicates,
yeah,
and I could have something that even has like this is a nonsense word, but it has like 4 E's in it
yeah,
and 2 F's.
yeah.
So yeah, that's something that we care about, right?
Yes, I'm thinking we could pull. So we could have like a for loop for every character in Word, and we
Yeah.
can get the value of the character. So that's how many characters we. That's the amount of characters we have for that specific character, like the count for that specific character. And then we could also calculate how many of those characters we need by iterating over the word.
Yeah, exactly. So isn't this like really similar to something that we already did?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would just say retrieve the value from hash map of the frequency and then count the frequency in the word and then compare the two. Or sorry, not compare the two, but
Yeah, yeah.
figure out the minimum between our current minimum here and those two numbers, and then iterate over every character and then return the result.
Yeah.
Okay.
On a high level, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Should I implement it? Is it good to implement?
Yes, I think we can implement the part where we construct the two frequency maps first, and then later we can think about how to find the quote unquote minimum limiting factor character.
Okay. Do we need 2 frequency maps? Because I think we can do it with just. So the way I'm thinking about doing it is here. Maybe this will be so for the figuring out which character we're dealing with, or I was thinking we can just grab the character from the word itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. But let's say you can make many instances of word.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say word is very long, then
Yeah.
you would sort of unnecessarily be iterating over words
Oh
many
yeah.
times, right?
Right. Uh, okay, so then we would have to also. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. That would be pretty redundant. So we could create a hash map for the word. So we would just like pretty much exactly like what we did for this text,
Mm-hmm.
except for word. And then for each would map work or right. Oh yeah, we would need a map, not okay, yeah. So then we could exactly the same way for text map or for word map. And then we would iterate over, for example, the word map key set. And then we would take the value of the character in the text map and the word map, divide the two, and then find the minimum between the result and that. If that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. So I'm just gonna create the map. I'm just gonna start copying and pasting just for. Okay. This would be a word map, and then I should be able to just get to see in word storing word map, but that should be fine. And then this is gonna be that. Okay, so when we're actually iterating through, it should not be word. It should be let's say word map. We'll use word map,
Yes.
and then the key set a word map.
Yeah.
And then now we can just take the values of the two sort of our text map. Let's say our char is available. Text map, and like how we did before, get our default space at 0. And then should be able to actually so this is available, this is what's called required.
Mm-hmm.
And then you should be just able to assign the min between
Okay.
yeah.
Just a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that we'll have some zero division error here?
Yeah, that is possible. Okay, yeah. So actually, chars available. There's a chance we don't have any, but in the chars required, it's gonna never be 0. Or else we would not require it that way. But there's a chance we still divide by 0.
Actually, let's think: is this zero division error like possible in the first place? If it's 0, would it be in the key set?
No, because it's only added in if it exists.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. So like we don't need to worry that this is 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
I think that should be good.
And this should be get.
Oh yeah, sorry, get. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I think this approach will also work.
Okay.
That's great. Now we have around like 8 minutes left.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to give you just one more follow-up. Instead of just a string, let's say it's an array of strings. Like this. How will you modify? And instead of returning just one integer, let's return a list of integer that each reflect the maximum occurrence of words that you can form from text.
It contains, sorry, obviously, what was your, it contains the maximum number of words?
So it essentially, from this list of words, we want to output a list of integers that correspond to the maximum number of instances that we can form word from text. How will we modify this?
Okay, so we have text is just one string, correct?
Text just remains the same. Yeah.
Okay, so we already have our text map, so that would be fine. So the difference would come in the actual word map. So we would have to create a word map essentially for each word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say we would create a word map for each word. And then I would just say essentially is wrap this section in a loop for each word in words.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and do that?
Okay. So let's just a string word and word. And then and that. Okay, so word and word.
Okay.
Create a word map. Okay, so we create our word map. In word.toChar array. That's fine because we already have word line max number of words. This will probably, so this would have to change because,
Really?
or I would say we would change the naming maybe just to be more clear, but
Okay.
I'll just leave it for now.
I think it's
That's
fine.
value and C nor key set. This should be all fine. I would just, the only difference here is actually we want to return as this integer. So number of birds. And we'll return this, and then every time we find our maps, I would just say number of birds dot add. Oh, and that should be good. This is for a loop.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
at the end, return. Yeah, I think that should be fine.
Yeah. That is good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I think that can be the end of our interview.
Mhm.
Is it okay if I give you my feedback now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so um, I'm gonna split my feedback into like before, during, and after coding. So
Okay.
um, before before we start coding, I like that you asked about the input and output parameters.
Yeah.
Um, that was great. Um, I gave you the prompt to talk about examples. I think it'd be better if like you kind of proactively did it.
Mhm.
Um, examples are always like very very important when it comes to these problems.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Ideally, you want to give an example and you um dry run it um your overall approach after you have kind of sketched it out.
Mhm.
Um, and that brings me to my next point, which is you brought up like the character frequency point,
Mhm.
which is really good, um, because that's basically like the essence of the problem.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and you also brought up hash map really early on, which I
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
because that's the correct data structure. One other thing that I also like is you kind of checked in with the interviewer. Like, is it okay if I start implementing this? Like, and you ask me questions sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, this is a balance. Like, obviously, you don't want to ask your interviewer like every single thing,
Yeah.
but keeping me like um looped in like is a very good thing because that
Mhm.
allows me to help you, and that overall just makes it easier to follow what you're doing. So
Yeah.
I think you should keep doing that. Um, okay, so for the points of improvement, I think. Oh, okay. Sorry. Before I talk about points of improvement, there's one more good thing which I think you did, which you're quite good at taking hints. Every
Mhm.
time I say something, I felt that you took the time to understand what I was saying firstly
Mhm.
and take action on it. Like this sounds like a bit obvious, but there are a lot of people that I've interviewed before and seen that they kind of just like ignore what the interviewer says
Mhm. Mhm.
when they don't understand what the interviewer is saying.
Yeah.
Um, and or they just like sort of like argue back and say like, oh, my method is better,
Mhm.
when like in reality you shouldn't be doing that. Like the interviewer has done the problem many times, and they're
Mhm.
also like they're gonna say a hint for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep doing that for sure. That's very
Mhm.
good. um okay, now for the point of improvement. So ideally you want to be really sure on your high level solution before you start a code, unless like in like very like I guess like limited situations where like you really think that like writing out some code will make it easier for you to think.
Mhm.
Ideally you want to have be like super concrete and get the interviewer to agree on a high level solution before you start a code.
Mhm.
Because what will happen if you don't do this beforehand is that you'll start coding something and then you realize that you have to erase everything because you were wrong.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I would like I think one way you improve is like be more sure before you want to jump into the coding. Like you don't
Mhm.
have to rush into coding. Okay. I'm gonna move on to the during coding part. So
Yeah.
one thing I like is that you're like narrating your ideas quite clearly.
Mhm.
Um, a few negative points like places of improvement. From the get go, you were not using like the cleanest code structure. For example,
Mhm.
like loops and arrays.
Mhm.
Like for example, you're hard coding the variables for each character.
Yeah.
Um, it worked for balloon, like because balloon is like a really short word. But
Yeah.
ideally, you want to use like um clean coding practices from a get go, especially loops
Mhm.
and arrays, which are
Okay.
really basic. And also, I think one way you could improve is to get better at the Java default library. Like
Yeah.
I think there is like something that will help you get a minimum of an array in Java. Admittedly,
Mhm.
like I'm not that good in Java, but I
Yeah. I
think it'd
think
be good
there
to
is. I
familiarize
think.
yourself more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would just help you save time and yeah.
Mhm.
Um, okay. Okay. So feedback regarding the follow up. I think ideally it would be great if you gave just like even very quickly an example for the follow up. Like I'm a big
Mhm.
like harper on like examples. Like there there's so many interviews where people just like screw up because they don't understand the question, and why they don't understand the question is because they didn't go through an example. So I think another example here would be great. I think it would be great if you thought a lot more. There are quite a bit of like prolonged silence, which I think it's okay if like you're a beginner, but as you progress, you might want to like reduce that as much as possible. And one way to do that is just think aloud more. Yeah. Okay. So for the how to solve this problem is you want to have a hash map for Word as well, right? I think you might want to get a bit more familiar with your data structures, like for example hash map. Then it will click for you, like, okay, I need to use a hash map for Word, like very quickly. Just practice like the hash map problems more. Yeah, this is sort of just an issue of practice.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like though is that your variable names are very good. You won't believe like the number of people that name like their things like single variables or like very bad names. Your variables are very good, like cars available, cars required. I really like that you took the time to think of very good names there.
Yeah. It's because
Keep doing that.
one of my teachers literally would not let us hand in our assignments if we didn't have good variable names. So we were
That's a great
forced.
teacher.
Yeah,
That's
we're
a great
forced.
teacher. Like even if you're doing Leetcode for yourself, like you should name your things properly.
Yeah.
Okay. The last follow-up. I think overall you got it very quickly for both of the follow-ups. But last follow-up, I think you should have asked more, clarified more about the problem. So one question that I was expecting you to ask is text shared between all the words? Like you get what I mean? Like in this case, you're lucky because you guessed correctly. But I could have like stipulated a different thing, and then you would have just like done the wrong thing, and we have to like rewind.
Yeah.
So it's always better to like err on the side of caution, unless like it's really obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, overall, just one feedback. I feel that for Leetcode, it might be better to use Python. Like this is sort of like my own opinion, but I think for like, you know how like different languages have different purposes. Like Python is a Leetcode language. So for example, just to give you one example, like this function here, like you can do it in one line in Python. So this will sort of output a frequency map for you. So it's just a way less verbose. Like if you want to find a minimum of array, you just do like min like array, and then it gives you the minimum. Yeah. Just like some of my friends, like they switch from Java to Python, and after that they just found it like a lot easier to do Leetcode.
Yeah.
But obviously this is not like a forced thing. Sorry?
I've been thinking about it, but I don't know. Every time it comes around, it's always like interviewing seasons, and then
Yeah, for sure. I understand. It's hard to switch, but after I switched, I was a lot happier. Okay, I think that's all my feedback. Leo, do you have feedback?
I thought you were very thorough, so I'll just say a couple words here. I mean, first of all, thank you for conducting the mock interview. I thought that was great.
Yay.
Yeah, no, I think you did great. I guess the main thing is I thought the only thing I'll add to this that I think could be a consideration is a time management. I think time management could be something that you look into a bit. Now I know that for mock interviews it can be a bit awkward in terms of like we want to focus on, but I think generally brought up a couple good points regarding all the various follow-ups, questions to ask, how to approach that kind of thing. I think that's the most important part. But if you feel like you're getting good at that, next I will work on time management. Now specifically, what am I talking about? I would say there's a couple of things that you can do in this interview that would have helped you a bit earlier. The first thing is a lot of the practice for time management happens before the interview. For example, right, regardless of the question, you should always have a layout or a plan ready to go, right? That way you won't forget things like asking about examples or coming up with that kind of thing, right? So like that's an example of preparing for time management rather. And then lastly, I also want to make sure that you have enough time at the end so that's not rushed. Now what that might look like is if this is a problem where they're planning to ask about the time and space complexity, you want to make sure you leave time for that. Okay.
Yeah.
If you sense that there's a follow-up coming, you want to make sure you leave time for that. Or alternatively, if you feel like you're not doing very well, you're not getting to the follow-up question, which that happens to me as well. If that's the case, clarify what's going on. Say, hey, just want to clarify. Hey, what is the goal here? Are we going to be solving this problem? Should I be optimizing this for a follow-up? Should I just be considering this as a whole problem, right? Asking for some guidance during the interview about what the expectations are can also help guide what you spend your time on, right? As an example, for this problem here, now you wouldn't have known if there was a follow-up and or if you would have known what the follow-up was, obviously, right? But there are some things that you could have potentially invested some time on at the beginning that would have helped you a lot on the follow-up. For example, to build on what Jin said about the clean code section, what I had in my notes was writing some helper functions. So for example, one of the helpers I had recommended is a function that converts a word to the frequency map. Now you wouldn't notice that would have actually helped you twice in the follow-up, right? So something like that, now obviously it's going to take you a bit more time to make that into a helper than just putting the main function. I understand that, but right, time management skills also is a part of that, equation where you need to know, okay, this is a common function. I need to know how to do it. I'm going to break this down into a helper so I can call it in later on. Versus, hey, I think this is a very small part of the question. I don't think the follow-up question, if there is one, will be based on this problem, so I won't make a helper, right? That takes a bit of experience and practice to get used to. But this is a case where that actually was a major part of the question, and it would have definitely benefited from being a helper. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Cool. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, but I think I generally covered everything very well. That's all I'm going to say on my side as well. Yeah, I think that was well done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, I saw a comment from Eric. Eric's been spamming the chat. I'm sorry. You should debate at the interview as to why Java was better. Like, I won't really comment. Oh, I will comment on that briefly, actually. I think I think Python is a better language for interviewers, for interviewing. However, if you're not strong in Python yet, you're going to be adding overhead to learning that, right? So again, what I would say is that in the short term, definitely still use Java for your interviews just to pass the rounds and whatnot, right? But if you see yourself, especially if you're more junior still, you got more interviews ahead of you in the future, it's just a matter of time before you do get held back on more difficult interviews due to Java. Now, what I'm going to say is that, and this I'm biased because I think that I'm a good interviewer. Good interviewers will not ask questions that require language features, right? Now, there's a debate. For example, is converting a string to a frequency map a language feature? Most people would say no, because only Python has that utility. And honestly, if that is a major part of the question in Python, they would actually probably ask you, oh, you cannot use that helper. You need to write out yourself, right? Now, that being said, is it a bad thing to use counter? They're never going to go like, oh, use counter minus 5 points. No, they're going to go like, okay, either you're allowed to use it, which is obviously very beneficial, or you're not allowed to use it, and they say, oh, hold on a second, you can't use that, in which case you lost 5 seconds. So, it's a case where there's no downside. You know what I mean? We call it like, downside insurance. Now, on the other hand, right, there is a way to do that in Java too, right? Now, you could do the for loops, you can do the basic stuff. In Java, what I would recommend is getting into the Streams API, okay?
Yes.
In the Streams API, then you can do this. It's still not going to be one line. It's going to be about 3 lines. But it's one of those things where you have to know it, okay? You're going to get asked string questions in interviews. You're going to get asked list question interviewers. You have to know how to use streams if you are planning to stay in Java land.
Yeah.
Okay. So those are the things I would say on that one. Short term, stay in Java, not a problem. Long term, if you're going for more interviews, especially if you're going for more interviews that are going to require, that's less about like, let's say, basic manipulation, a lot more about algorithms, then that's where Python's going to start to build up an advantage. Okay. But I think in this case, I don't think it was really Java that held you back. I think you still did fine.
Yeah. And then I guess as for advice is switching to Python, do you think I should just start solving in Python, like Java and Python, and then slowly just switch over? Or do you think I should just like...
Well, what's your background in Java? Like, are you using Java only for Leetcode, or are you also using it for your projects?
Leetcode.
Okay.
Yeah, Leetcode.
Okay, well, if
I
you're
would
only
just say it's my most proficient, that's why, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Well, if you're only using Leetcode, I'd say there's no reason to use Java anymore. If you're planning to switch, just switch straight to Python immediately. So what I would do in this case is I would actually just straight Python. You are going to, and of course you're going to have to Google the syntax. That's all fine, right? So just do that. And then what I would do is, at the beginning, be really slow. That's okay, right? And when you're practicing problems in Python, you account for the fact that you'll be slower, right? So let's say usually you're doing these problems maybe 30 minutes in Java, right? Give yourself 45 minutes in Python, and then over time that gap will shrink, and then you'll overcome even, let's say, even 30 minutes, maybe you get it down to 25, which is a very big advantage. Okay.
Yeah.
What I would do is really, if you don't have if you, for example, if you're not actively working on Java in your personal products or at co-op or in in class or something, there's really not much advantage to continue working on that right now. So that's something to consider. I would just switch right away if I were you.
Yeah, I don't think I really need it. It's just helpful because it's like an object-oriented language that kind of helps with co-ops and stuff. But besides that, I don't really need it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, some of the other interviews I do, like for example, the object-oriented design, those ones actually it's more popular to do in Java almost because it has the tools in Java are then beneficial in Java. So it's totally fine to kind of switch the tools based on what you're doing. For Leetcode, you're really not going to benefit much from the Java specific features like the classes, all the all the overhead that's associated with that. So for that one, I would switch. But yeah, if you end up practicing object-oriented stuff, which you could also do in Python, by the way. But yeah, for that one, I would say there's a stronger argument to do those in Java still.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Was that anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I think that's all.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out. That's all we. I mean, I guess that's it. By the way, Jen, I'll DM you some notes after. We can chat after, but I'm gonna switch it to the resume review portion now. So we'll call it here for now.